As the U.S. moves to try and force TikTok to sell, Canada reveals it carried out a national security review of the popular video streaming app last year. So that was never made public. It's only coming to light now as TikTok is under increased scrutiny. The U.S. House of Representatives approved a bill that could ban the app in the U.S., raising questions about Canada doing the same. Let's go to Carmi Levy, tech analyst. She joins us now to talk some more about this. Carmi, do you see a catalyst for this review? It was launched last September.
Well, I kind of wonder what took so long because last September, the app had been around for 7 years. It was well known for much of that time that this app did present unique challenges, unique issues with the amount of data that it collected. It's an aggressive data harvester, as well as where the data went once it was collected. Of course, TikTok, owned by ByteDance, Chinese company, subject to oversight by the Chinese government, despite its denials, as well as research that showed that data could have been exposed to Chinese government officials and was not compartmentalized, as the company said. So, the catalyst has been around for a very long time. But I think the question now becomes, why did Canada wait until 7 years into the TikTok era, as those rumors and research were all swirling, to actually do something about it?
Okay, you use the word aggressive to describe its data harvesting. I'm just wondering if you could expand on that. Remind us about the kind of information that TikTok has access to and gleans from just being on your phone.
Absolutely. Every time we install an app from an app store, whether it's on an Android device or an iPhone, it asks for permissions to access certain parts of the device. So it asks for access to the camera, the microphone, your contacts, your location information, your IP address, things like that. And pretty much, and just about all apps do this. We know that, usually used to market to us. What TikTok does is it asks for more things, pretty much everything on the phone. In other words, more categories. It collects that data more frequently, creates a much richer data set, which it then sends to the mothership. And then, of course, unlike Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or any other US-owned app, the data isn't staying in the US. It's going where we're not sure, accessed by we're not really sure as well.
Is there any evidence, though, that TikTok does share user data with China? Do we know that for sure?
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal did a bit of a deep dive on the architecture of the app and the data infrastructure around it, and showed that there were instances where the Communist Party of China could have had access to the data. In other words, it wasn't really sealed. ByteDance has said that it kept it kind of in its own instance. But the Wall Street Journal showed that in many cases that instance was rather porous, and they did see scenarios where that data could have been accessed by resources in that country.
Okay, so Canada, you'll recall, banned Huawei from some system build-outs in this country, but that's infrastructure. Do you see a similar threat here in an app?
Well, it certainly is. There is enough of an overlap here, and it certainly does come from the same place. We obviously know China is a peer global power nation, and it seeks to use technology to advance its geopolitical aims, whether it's a physical box sitting on a cell phone tower, like in the case of Huawei, or an app on the phones that you and I use in this particular case. And so I think they come from the same place, but the reality is this is more of a political story than it is a technology one. If we really do think that we're going to stop China from using technology to expand its mass surveillance capabilities across the planet by taking down one company's hardware or one company's app, I think we're fooling ourselves. China certainly has not put all of its eggs in the TikTok basket any more than it put all of its eggs in the Huawei basket. So it makes for really great political theater, and it shows that the government is doing something. But ultimately, does it make us safer? No, because I'm pretty sure the government there has other avenues to surveil us, and they're likely leveraging them now.
Like balloons. Okay, so let's talk about content creation for a moment, because a lot of the people on TikTok are saying, look, this is where my audience is, this is where my business is. Where could content creators go? And when you ask content creators or anybody else to have a mass exodus and go somewhere else, does that happen? Is that something that we see has worked?
You can't recreate a platform any more than you can recreate a hit song. They work in different ways. Lightning only strikes once in a particular manner. We've seen, for example, can you replace Twitter as Elon Musk takes it over? The reality is no, you can't. We have seen, for example, Instagram with its Reels, that component of its platform. They've done a really good job replicating many of the features on TikTok, and there are many people now who post to both. And we're probably going to see more of that. Traffic is certainly growing on the Reels side, but there really isn't a one-for-one replacement for TikTok out there. And there is, because TikTok is the technology, the algorithm that serves up the content to you is incredibly advanced, much more so than most of its competitors. And replicating that elsewhere, very difficult to do, if not impossible, and probably would take even a company with the resources of Meta years to do. So I think, from a content creator's perspective, you're probably looking at how you manage your career, your business, who you're selling to on this platform. And you're asking yourself, what else should I be using if TikTok does in fact go dark? And in many cases, it is Instagram.
Carmi Levy, good to have you on this, sir. Thanks for your time tonight.
Great being here, Marella. Thanks.